Hello, this is William back for the second time today with another installment of the Grand Duke Dmitri Diary series. I just now finished the 1939 video for the day, and because it had already gone 15 minutes, I decided to do the 1915 diary entry separately with its own video. So that's what we're going to do now. A recap from the last 1915 diary entry. Well, Dmitri had spent about 5 hours outside that day. Then he'd come home and taken a 3-hour nap. He'd been walking and skiing and doing strenuous things, but by the evening he was really exhausted, so he took this long nap before dinner. All right, our cast today, well, the same men that he's mentioned before, the three that were staying with him there at Usovo, and a couple of interesting names pop up. People who aren't present, obviously, but one is Anna Verubova, and the other is Marie of Romania, who Dmitri calls Missy. So let's get going with that. It's the 3rd/16th of January. So the 3rd was Julian, the 16th was Gregorian calendar. At the estate of Usovo, it was -9 degrees, but only a little bit windy, but snowing hard. So that's our weather report for this diary entry. Here we go. I got up around 11 o'clock. I just couldn't wake up and felt weak and frightfully heavy in the morning. We had coffee together again, GM, Borya, Cook, and I. Then we skied down the hill. I performed very poorly given the heaviness in my head. Lunch was at 1 o'clock. Around 2 o'clock, Cook left for Moscow via Pavshino. He'll return tomorrow afternoon. As for me, I set off to ski to Ilinskaya, but I didn't make it all the way there. I went halfway and then turned back. I got a telegram during 5 o'clock tea and found out that yesterday there was a train catastrophe on the Tsarskaya Selo line, and Verubova was badly injured. I sent her a telegram asking if it was true. I received a telegram from Missy, who says that she's going to write me a letter. I sat in my room and read until dinner time. We dined à trois, GM, Borya, and I. Borya and I went out and skied down the hill until 4 o'clock when we returned home for tea. Okay, sorry, I muddled that a bit. We dined à trois, GM, Borya, and I. Then Borya and I went out and skied down the hill until 4 o'clock when we returned home for tea. In the evening, I read again and then had inhalation. I have to look at that again. Обед à trois. Yeah, that's right, okay. Dinner, 3 of us for dinner, GM, Borya, and I. Then Borya and I, went down the... So this is weird. So he's really muddled things up here. It's not just me, I assure you. Anyway, we'll get to that. So he slept until 11 o'clock. Boy, oh boy. It's nice to do that once in a while. And, we all know there are mornings when it's exactly as he says. You just can't wake up. You're conscious, but you can't you just can't shake off your fatigue and sort of get your bearings. And he keeps using this word heavy. His head is heavy. He feels heavy in general. I've felt that way before, where you feel like you're just, when you take a step, your feet are just, weighted down like you're wearing lead boots or something. And you just feel heavy. He's not having coffee in bed, which would be more his usual thing to do. He's getting out of bed and having coffee with the other chaps. And as you can see from this and other diary entries all along, no matter what time period, he's always kind of hard on himself when it comes to sports. If he doesn't do well, even if it's not a competition, even if it's just skiing down a hill, yeah, if he doesn't do well, he gets really frustrated with himself. So he's a bit of a perfectionist in that respect. Pavshina was a train station about 7 kilometers from Usovo. And that sounds right to me because I remember Maria in her first volume of memoirs saying that it was very touching. Of course, she didn't remember it, but she'd heard it described that when her mother died, Grand Duchess Alexandra, formerly Princess Alexandra of Greece, when she died, that the local peasants carried her casket for 8 miles. Not the same fellows all the way, but handing them off to a new group of people, I guess, and they did that for 8 miles, all the way to this train station in Pavshino. And okay, so Cook goes there. We don't know why he's going to Moscow, but just he'll spend the night and come back. It's not that far away, obviously. And then Dmitri tries to ski to Ilinskaya. It must have been very, very nearby, but he didn't quite make it. Let's see, Anna Verubova. You guys probably know better than I do, if you're Romano aficionados in general, about this train crash that she was in, and I think it left her like partly paralyzed for a while. But she recovered from it over the course of time, and she said that Rasputin was the one who had saved her from a lifetime of paralysis. I don't know, but it's funny that Dmitri sent her a telegram saying, "Oh, I heard you were injured in a train crash. Is that true?" I'm sure he didn't phrase it that way, but it's kind of a funny thing to do. To send the person who was supposedly injured and ask her, "Oh, is this true?" We don't know who sent him the telegram, but apparently he just couldn't believe it. I don't know, but it's interesting, worth noting that Verubova's younger sister was married to Dmitri's stepbrother, so there was a little bit of a family connection. It just, it makes me wonder what the relationship was like, because if memory serves, I've come across other things where he hasn't spoken very highly about her. And of course, a lot of people thought she was sort of just stupid and neurotic, and Dmitri hated Rasputin, and of course she was so closely connected to Rasputin. But, they're in contact, so whether it was weird or not, he at least got in touch with her and said, "Yeah, were you really in a horrible train accident?" Something along those lines. Sorry, it makes me laugh, but I'm not putting him down. And next, Missy of Romania. So Missy just sends him a telegram saying, "Okay, I'm going to write you a letter." So he must have written to her, and she maybe wanted to take her time a little bit writing him back, and so he sent her a telegram to say, she sent him a telegram to say, "Don't worry, I got it, and I'm going to write you back." So Dmitri's relationship with Missy of Romania, I've talked about that before. My godmother's husband and my dear friend, the late Philip Goodman, confronted with any such situation as this, would always say, "It's très compliqué." So that's my fallback as well. He had a very complicated relationship with her. He believed he was head over heels in love with her. There had been some kind of scandal where apparently he'd sort of pounced on her, gotten what he thought were signals that she was interested in him. He was only 16 years old at the time, and then there was a family scandal. He said, she said, and in 1920, he was still kind of smitten with her and wanted to know from her directly whether she had ever been in love with him or not, and so on and so forth. I believe he himself claimed that he had only kissed her. So not such a scandalous thing after all, although whether or not that was true, whatever happened, it kind of blew up, and Missy found herself having to defend herself, and yeah, anyway, you've heard me talk about this before. And then things are really muddled up. Boy, when he says he has a heavy head, I guess he's not kidding us, because he's kind of almost describing 2 different days, right? I mean, he has, in the first part, he goes out trying to ski to Ilinskaya, and then comes back, and then there's tea, and then he's describing, instead of that, he's describing, right, going out with Borya until 4 o'clock. And it's this weird segue where he says, I sat in my room and read until dinner time, then describes the dinner, well, who was there, and then says, I went out and skied down the hill until 4 o'clock. So is he using the wrong word? And saying, but if he's using the wrong word, and he means to say not dinner but lunch, that he went out and skied down the hill until 4 o'clock, then how could he do both that and ski to Ilinskaya with, I don't know. The only thing I can think is maybe Ilinskaya was downhill from Usovo, and he went downhill with Borya, and those 2 things are the same event, but I don't think so. He keeps talking about the hill in terms of this sort of hill, I don't know. Well, there's an artificially constructed hill that they made of snow and covered with ice for sledding. But I'm confused by this. He was either confused when he wrote this, or he just wasn't very careful. But it's not really important, is it? The interesting thing is this reference to inhalation. So this is obviously this is treatment for him. So he told us that he had a cough. So what was he inhaling? I don't know. What would a person have inhaled back then to help if they were congested? I don't know. But I think my guess would be that they thought he was in danger of developing tuberculosis because he was coughing. And so the doctor had prescribed some kind of inhalations. But, it was really his throat that they were worried about. So we're going to find out about that later. In fact, in the next diary entry, and then in diary entries to come, it's not really his lungs, it's more his throat. So, I don't know. The inhalations, this one just confuses me. But, he ends up having this operation, as you'll see later on, without anesthesia on his throat. Kind of sounds like a tonsillectomy, but I wonder if he had just some kind of growth in his throat, or if his breathing was obstructed so that, maybe he had sleep apnea. Maybe that's why when he woke up in the morning, he felt unrested and he felt tired the rest of the day. Anyway, who knows? What do we have next time? Something that I think kind of sounds like a breakup letter that he sends to a certain woman. And also a telegram from the Empress. And in relation to the whole Verubova thing, and in relation to this telegram that Dmitri sent, that apparently people find a little strange. Okay, I'm not surprised. We'll see. So, yeah, come back for that tomorrow. It may be that there will be, again, a combined video of 1939 and 1915, or it may be that there will be just 1915. I don't know. We'll all be surprised, I guess. Okay, see you next time. Bye.